Hello friends, and welcome to this nice hip opening yin practice. It's a sequence that you can do whenever you're feeling a little bit tight in the hip area. Also great for emotional release and just to calm down the nervous system. And always remember to do what feels good. Want to try to stay away from any kind of burning or tingling sensation. Just focus on finding a nice unlocalized sensation of a stretch, more of like a dull sensation, no sharp sensations. So that's something to keep in mind. And you can always use props. I use blocks, but you can use books, you can use towels, anything that you might have handy at home. Okay, let's get into something comfortable and come up to our mat. Today we're going to get started lying down in a reclined butterfly. So coming down onto your back, slowly rolling your shoulder blades underneath your chest and then letting those knees splay open, feet together. And it can feel really good to place your left hand on your heart, your right hand on your belly. Just connect in with the movement of your breath. Feeling the inhale all the way down into your belly, so soften your belly and invite those inhales a little bit deeper. And enjoy the release with your exhale, letting go of any tension, any stressors that you might have had today. Letting yourself fully arrive here on your mat the way you are. Always come as you are. Leaving any expectations at the door, coming in with a nice childlike mind, curious, playful. You're welcome to share a couple of cleansing breaths here with me. So finding a nice deep inhale, you might even hold it for a second at the top. And then opening the mouth, sigh it out. One more if you like, big inhale. Hold it for a second and then give it back. And if your hips are feeling quite tight, you can always place some supports underneath your thighs here. You want to feel like you can quite effortlessly just lie here. You might feel a little sensation of a stretch in your hips. Feel the aliveness in your body. You might feel a slight tingling sensation in your fingertips. Warmth across your heart. Perhaps you notice the breath at the tip of your nose, the air coming in and out of your nostrils. Let's enjoy 5 more breaths here. You might count them down, each exhale moving deeper and deeper into relaxation. There's nowhere else you need to be right now. Nothing else you need to be doing. But be right here, show up for yourself. Slowly, we bring the hands down towards our thighs. Find a little activation of your pelvic floor here as you slowly bring your knees together. You can go ahead and hug your knees into your chest. Nice big hug. Might roll side to side a little bit, massaging into the lower back and your upper back area, middle back. Finding any little juicy spots that might feel a little bit tender. And when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and just roll over to our side, finding a fetal position. And take a moment here, curled up into a little ball of you to just acknowledge how everything is feeling. Find the anchor in your breath, anchoring into your experience right here. And we'll slowly press ourselves up to seated position. So you're going to start with a nice little straddle stretch. So bringing our feet nice and wide. Now here's where you might want to sit up on a towel or a block, anything to elevate your pelvis a little bit. You might also want to just walk some of the excess flesh from underneath your sit bones. And sometimes I like to start with just bringing the fingertips behind me. Inhaling here to find some length in the torso, and with the exhale, hinging. You might do a couple of these. Inhale, lengthen, and then exhale, hinge. And then eventually you start to let your head, your shoulders become really heavy. And here's where you might want to use a block to rest your forehead at. Maybe stacked fists. Or even bending your elbows, resting them on the mat, and then resting your head into your palms. And then soften into your feet, all the toes. And we let the gravity do most of the work here. It's beautiful when we surrender into it, and bit by bit our body starts to release. Breathing into our back body, finding that decompressing element of the spine. And all these forward folds like this are great to calm down the nervous system, where the back body is like a nice, warm, comforting blanket on top of all the internal organs. You might notice after some time that you can move your block a little bit, remove a fist, as your head becomes heavier and heavier. Five more delicious breaths here. So savoring each breath cycle. Maybe finding little pauses at the top and at the bottom of the breath. And when coming out of these passive yin restorative poses, we want to really protect the spine. So activate through your pelvic floor here, and then inhale slowly, bring yourself back up. You might feel really good here to do a counter windshield wiper, so planting your hands behind you, bending into your knees, planting your feet, and then just letting your knees kind of flush side to side a couple of times here. You might even look up, breathing into your heart space. And then next time here that we find the knees pointing to the right, we're going to pause there. Bringing blocks out of the way. And finding our pigeon. So bringing the left leg behind us. So your right shin will be on a bit of a 45-degree angle, and then squaring up your hips. So it's called half pigeon. We're getting a nice juicy stretch into our right glute here, but also into the left hip flexor. So you can always stay up high here, maybe add blocks underneath your hands. And modifications for half pigeon or options are to do deer, where you sit down to your right sit bone and bring your right shin parallel to the front. So it's those 3 90-degree angles. Or you could do figure 4 on your back, so lying down and then crossing your right ankle over your left thigh. If you're in pigeon or deer, you could do some breath flows with me here to get a little bit deeper and explore. So inhale, lift your heart, and exhale so you can flow down to about halfway. And then the inhale, you'll go back up, lift your heart, exhale, maybe explore a little bit deeper. And I like to do this gradually, so finding more depth with each exhale. And when you found that sweet spot, you can find a nice still pose. Might be stacking your fists or a block as a headrest. And again, finding a beautiful, dull sensation of a stretch. So if you're feeling any tingling, any kind of burning sensation, take it back a little step here, back a notch, come out of it. And then you might try again in a little bit to find a depth. But listening to your breath is a great messenger. It will tell you if you've moved too far as well. If you find it hard to breathe, then also take it back a little bit. So listen inwards. Lean into the simplicity of the breath. Exhales mirroring the inhale. Five more deep breaths here. And when you're ready, move at your own cue. Slowly starting to lift our torso back up. And we want to sit down now onto our right sit bone. Swing the left all the way around. Then bend into the left knee. And now enjoy those windshield wipers facing the long edge. This feels good. And then eventually we're going to leave the knees pointing to the back of the mat. So we're flipping around a little bit here and we're going to do those deer legs. So I'm going to just turn to face your way. So your left shin will be parallel to the back of your mat. And same with your right thigh. And we're going to go for a little bit of a twist. So bring your left hand behind your hip. You can grab your left knee with the right hand. Inhale, lengthen. And then exhale. You can look over that left shoulder, nice little neck stretch. And there are options to explore different sensations. You could also bring both hands to the outside of the left leg. You might even come down onto your forearms. Maybe rest your forehead again, a block or stack fist. And you can play around with that right leg. Bringing it a little bit closer might help you in your twist. Or bringing it a little bit further away might add a nice little interesting sensation into your quad, your hip flexor. So seeing what works for you here. It's not a super long hold. So find your Goldilocks spot, so not too much, not too little, and then breathe into it. And scan your face, softening your jawline behind your eyes. Five more breaths here. And counting them down can sometimes help find that final depth in your pose. And super slow as you come out. Keep that awareness within. And then walk yourself on top of your left shin now. And make sure that left toes are really flexed here. And then go ahead and explore with a bit of a forward fold over your left leg here. And I like to keep my right hand and my right forearm into the sole of the left foot. And applying a gentle pressure there is going to add a little bit more sensation in that left hip. It also helps you stay centered on top of your left leg a little bit more. So this is 3 tenets in Yin Yoga that are really good to keep in mind. So the first one is that idea that we find our own edge. Where is that? I mentioned the Goldilocks spot, a place where we feel a good stretch, but it's not too much. And then second element is the element of time. So we try to keep the poses for at least 90 seconds, just to get nice and deep into the connective tissues. And then lastly, it's that stillness. So trying to avoid too much fidgeting. Three more breaths here. And slowly rising up. Now still pointing, facing the back of your mat. We're going to try for our full pigeon or box pose. So keeping that left shin still parallel to the back. We're going to bring the right shin, so either in front, more of a box pose, or you could try bringing it on top of your left shin. So this pose is also called log pose. It's like we're stacking 2 logs. And don't worry, it's quite common that our right knee flies pretty high here. What's important is that we keep the toes flexed just to protect the hinge joint in the knee. We don't want to place any sideway pressure on it. And you can always use a block or a towel, something to support there. Again, I like to start with fingertips behind me, just kind of get a feel for it. You could also try elevating, sitting up on a block or towel if that helps you. This is quite a deep hip opening pose, so have patience and allow yourself to explore the different props that you might have at hand. And then staying upright, perfectly fine. You might explore with gently hinging forward. Some of you might even bring your arms in front of you and relax the head forward. And here again, you can use your arms to encourage the flexion of your toes, kind of gently press into your toes and toe mounds. And just another little option that you could try if you're pretty open and you want to get a little bit more sensation. You could try planting the fingertips in front of you and gently pressing them into the mat and hollowing out your belly. So pulling in at your lower belly there, that might give you a little bit more sensation. So yeah, feel free to try that if you like. So we won't stay here for too long, just a few more breaths. My notes again, after a while, that the right knee does come further down. You might not need the prop. And slowly we inhale to rise. And very gently start to release your feet in front of you. You're now facing the back of the mat. And enjoy some windshield wipers here, knees flushing side to side. And then the knees are pointing left. You're going to stay there and set up for our pigeon, half pigeon on the other side. This is beauty. We have 2 sides. You get to explore it again. See what's different on this side. Just swinging that right leg behind you. Bringing your left shin onto the mat. So slight angle here. And then make sure your hips are really square here. That right leg is straight behind you. You could enjoy some breath, kind of wave motions here with me if you like. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, slowly exploring. And coming Perhaps a little bit deeper with the next one. And eventually finding your depth. I think Huxley, my dog, really wants to join in on some yin yoga. He's just whining at the door. So once you find your spot, let the breath guide you into some stillness. Stay breathing in your pigeon. Here, I'm just going to let my dog in. Very persistent, this one. Whenever you're ready, we'll slowly lift ourselves up. Then we'll sit down onto the left sit bone. Sweep the right hand all the way over and enjoy some windshield wipers. Knees side to side. And then now this time, knees are pointing to the back. The front of the mat. We're going to set up for those deer legs. Again, I'll just scooch around to show you those 3 90-degree angles. So this time it's the right shin that's parallel to the front of the mat. Now moving to our twist, so right hand behind us. You can grab your right knee with the left hand. We'll inhale, lengthen, and exhale, twist. And again, adding that next stretch here can feel really good. Looking over your right shoulder. An option to explore deeper, you might come down, both hands to the outside of the right leg, maybe both forearms. And fold here. And keep inviting yourself back. You might find your mind wandering. And that's a practice, kind of catching it and then just allowing your awareness to come back into the body. Might find a few deeper breaths just to anchor that awareness again. Five more breaths. And slowly coming back onto your palms. And then all the way over to your right shin now. And try to stay positioned on top of it. Again, you can grab your right foot here with the left hand. Then inhale, lengthen, and then exhale. You can fold over. And pressing gently into that right foot with the left arm. You can add a little bit to the sensation. And enjoying that beautiful sense of surrender. You're feeling the gravity working. about a minute left here. So if your mind wandered, let my voice bring it back in and refocus. Scan the face, making sure you're not holding on to tension there. Beautiful. Slowly rising up here. So coming in for our full pigeon, we're gonna grab that left shin and bring it either in front, or you could place it on top of your right shin. Find those two logs. Again, finding any props that might help you here, sitting up on a block or grabbing a block and planting it underneath your left knee there. And checking with your toes, see how flex my toes are, really making sure those knees are safe and we're getting the work in the hips here. So fingertips, you start behind you. You might even lean back and that might be where you stay. You're getting a lot of feedback and that's perfect. Then find that stillness there. If you're craving a bit more, you could try hinging forward. Maybe bringing your arms in front of you, like I like to do. I like to bring those arms into the toes and the toe mounds to keep that flexion going. And then localize where you're feeling the stretch. And then see if you can send your breath there. So you're massaging the area with your breath. And then use the exhales to release any tension you might have found there. You might feel slight discomfort, but see if your mind and your body can just hold out for a little bit longer, as long as it's not unsafe, as long as there are none of those sharp tingling feelings. This is the work. This is opening up into the connective tissues. One breath at a time. Ten more breaths. You got this. And you might count down the breath. Or repeat, breathing in as you inhale and breathing out as you exhale. Or any other little mantra that calms your nervous system. It could be, I am safe. I am here. Or I've got this. So strong, you guys. Gentle activation of that pelvic floor here as we slowly prepare to come out. We stack the shoulders on top of the hips. We release our feet onto the mat. Ooh, enjoy that beautiful sense of release. And then some windshield wipers might feel good here, leaning back. Even let the head drop back. And as many of these as you need. And eventually we're going to find ourselves on our backs. Maybe a little sip of water or an extra layer of clothing if you're feeling a little bit chilly. And as we come down here, just take a moment, extend your legs, and take inventory of how everything's feeling right now. Might be getting a lot of feedback from the hip area. How does your breath feel? How does your heart feel? And how does your head feel? I always savor these in-between moments just as much or sometimes even more than the pose itself. So if you want to chill here for a bit longer, you're more than welcome. The next pose will just be a nice little supine twist, so bending into our knees. And then we're going to go ahead and cross our right leg over the left. You can go for a single cross. You might go for the double cross. And then I like scooching my hips over to the right a bit. Open up your arms to your cactus. And then just dropping your legs over to the left. And you might feel good with the supporting hand on top of that right knee. Or maybe a block or a book. Anything to support it. So you're making sure that you're safe here. And as an option, if this twisted roots, as we call it, doesn't feel good, you can keep your right leg stacked on top of the left instead. And then looking over your right shoulder here is going to add a nice little twist into your cervical spine, the neck as well. You got Huxley doing his little twists over there in the corner. Gets pretty adamant at joining me here in the room. And slowly, with your next inhale, we'll come back to center. Just unravel your legs and you can reach for a nice long full body stretch here. Arms overhead, feet towards the front of the mat. Enjoy the space in your body. And the knees might come into your chest for one hug here before we twist to the other side, checking in how the spine is feeling. And then we drop the feet. Open the arms to your cactus. Cross your left leg over the right. Simple cross. You might go for the double left foot around that right ankle. And then you can scoot your hips now all the way over to the left before you drop your knees to the right. And moving any props over that you might need. Maybe a supporting hand on top of that left knee. So doing this twisted roots is slightly internally rotating our hips. So getting a nice internal rotation after all those external rotations we just did. Each exhale, maybe feel how the left shoulder blade gets heavier and heavier. Shoulders are heavy and your jawline is soft. Last final breath here. And then the next inhale will bring you back to center. Unravel your legs. One final squeeze of the knees into the chest. You might bring your forehead up to meet your knees. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then exhale, release. Find that Savasana. And you can always place a rolled up towel underneath your knees. Scoop those shoulder blades underneath your heart space so that you can effortlessly turn those palms up. Let your fingertips curl in. Nice long neck, so there's a little humble of your chin. And close your eyes. Share a big cleansing breath with me here. Big inhale. And sigh it out. Letting your body now simmer in all the benefits of your practice. And enjoy that sense of coming home to yourself. Now you're more than welcome to stay here for a while longer at home. Enjoy the peace, enjoy the quiet. And I wanted to thank all of you for joining me today. It's always an honor to have you here, and please feel free to comment or make requests even in the comment section below for classes you'd like to see more of. And I'd love for you to subscribe, because then I'll see you again. From my heart to each and every one of yours. Namaste.